Paul Pogba is just a skill merchant. That is all he is. He is a compilation merchant. Hello and welcome back to week 12 of the Premier League preview on my channel. This is the rundown of everything that is going on over the weekend. We have the teams to watch section, the players to watch section, and of course this week's fixtures. Just a little side note though, over Christmas it is going to be a very busy period with all the football that's going on. As we all know, Christmas time gets very, very busy. So what I am proposing is changing the Premier League preview to suit you guys and to suit myself a little bit better. So what I will be doing is I'll be dropping either the players to watch section or a teams to watch section. I'll be dropping that out of the video and we'll be carrying on with one less section. The idea being that you guys get a decision in this, because in my opinion I think people engage a bit more with the players to watch section, but it's up to you guys. So what I will do is I'll leave a link in the description, either be to my Instagram or something like that. Be sure to follow whilst you're down there and make sure you vote to see which one you want to keep in the video. Anyway, we'll leave that there. So jumping into this week's fixtures. Friday night sees Leeds versus West Ham. Both teams come into this off the back of 3-1 defeats, looking to improve this weekend. Saturday the football continues with Wolves versus Villa, Newcastle versus West Brom. The big game of the weekend is the Manchester derby as Manchester City take on Manchester United, and Everton and Chelsea face off to round off Saturday. Like I said, there is a double game week next week, so for any fantasy footy addicts, make sure you are paying close attention. If you're going to triple a captain, I'd suggest doing it on a double game week. But that does mean on Sunday we have all 5 remaining games instead of 1 on Monday night. The first game on Sunday is Southampton, who take on Sheffield United, who are still looking for their first 3 points of the season and their first win. That is then followed by Crystal Palace, who battered West Brom last time out, going to Spurs. The next game is Fulham, who take on the champions Liverpool, and then we have 2 games at 8 o'clock in the evening. Arsenal and Burnley and Leicester and Brighton then both faced off in the final games of the weekend before, like I said, that double game week next week. The first team I've chosen in the teams to watch category this week is Arsenal. Last week, as you all know, I actually picked Spurs as the team to watch in the North London derby. However, this week I've chosen Arsenal. Arsenal come into this off the back of 2 straight defeats, I believe, and they've really not been very impressive in the last run of games. Mikel Arteta's job, I joked about it last week, but it must be pretty close to time. He needs to turn the results around. Arsenal have been very disappointing. They don't look like anywhere near the team that they did, well, even 3 or 4 years ago. It's looking really disappointing for them. The problem with this Arsenal team is that they've really been found out. Willian, I've been saying for ages, is a bang average footballer at best, and he's been found out this season. He got 3 assists on the opening day. Assists, I'm using that loosely because one of them was a shot that rebounded, but he's really been found out and there's not been creativity in the Arsenal team. Against Burnley, they might not need to be the most creative. Burnley look a bit rubbish at the minute. It's going to be a very interesting game, and I think both teams could really benefit their seasons with big results this weekend. I know Roy Keane joked about Arsenal having enough to stay up, but if they carry on losing the amount that they do, they're going to lose traction on the teams above them, going to create a distance between them, and it's going to be very difficult for them to catch up. The second team I've chosen in the teams to watch category this week is Everton. Everton have again been one of those teams, kind of like Arsenal, that have lost their way in recent weeks. Admittedly, did Arsenal really have their way in the first place? Not really sure. But Everton made a fantastic start to the season, but since that 2-2 draw at Goodison Park against Liverpool, they've not really been the team that we saw in the early weeks. I believe they've won 1 game from the last 7 in the league, and that was against Fulham. So they need to do something to turn it around. This weekend they play Chelsea, and as always, I don't want Everton to win, but if Everton want, to challenge for top 4, top 6, whatever position they're looking to achieve with this Everton side, then they really need to take some points off Chelsea this weekend. Of course, I'm hoping Timo Werner actually starts scoring rather than missing, but I think Everton have got the attacking prowess in their team to cause Chelsea some problems. I think they need to take some points this weekend, and then that'll be a good stepping stone to build some momentum. The final team to watch is actually, of course, a game to watch, the Manchester derby. I couldn't not talk about it. It's one of the biggest derbies in the country. Whether it's the biggest, I'll let you guys decide that. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, Liverpool versus Everton's the biggest derby, Newcastle versus Sunderland. So I'll let you guys sort that out. In fact, let me know down in the comments which is the biggest derby in England. Anyway, back to the actual talking point, which is the Manchester derby. It's always full of goals. I think we have to go back 3 years since the last 0-0 draw. There's always at least 2 goals, and I actually have a bit of a score prediction on this one. I'm going for a Manchester City 2-0 win. The reason I've gone for this is Manchester United are very, very inconsistent. I think I saw it somewhere, I can't tell you where I saw it, but about saying that Manchester United are the hardest team to face at the minute. And it's not like Liverpool last season, though that consistent. Being consistent was part of their thing. Manchester United are that inconsistent, but also they have a good squad that you don't know what you're going to come up against. And in the first half against West Ham, they were warts all over, really. And that's all I can say. They were just pushed to one side. Jared Bowen ran the show. Haller probably should have made it 2-0, and they were unfortunate not to get anything out of that game, West Ham United. So United need to be better, really. United need to be better this weekend. Manchester City, I think, come into this as favourites. They've both had disappointing starts, but have somehow managed to end up, I believe, so I haven't checked the league table since Southampton played last night, but I believe that puts them 5th and 7th or 6th and 7th. I'm sure I'll put it on the screen when I'm talking. But they're somehow, you know, in the top half, they get into the positions we're used to seeing United and City. So I think both teams, it's a massive 3 points. It's almost a 6-pointer, as they say, because you take 3 points off and the other person gets an extra 3 points. So it's going to be an interesting game. I think there's a lot of talent on show, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer really needs to get it right. We all know Pep can get it right on the big occasion, but Solskjaer needs to get this right, because I think people are asking questions of him more than they are of Pep. Moving on to the players to watch section this week. I did actually mention him in the last bit, but I will mention him again. Jared Bowen. I was really, really impressed with Jared Bowen last week. I think against Manchester United in the first half, he ran the show, and he was unfortunate not to bag a goal himself, and he had lots of opportunities, and he's only 23, and I think that's just a learning curve for him. I think by the time he's 25, 26, he will have had 2 goals in that game, and that is obviously very, very important. I think against, who they're playing? I think against Leeds, Jared Bowen could experience lots and lots and lots of positives. He could create a lot of space in the wide places and wide positions, and I think he could really spell danger for Leeds United. Leeds have not been great in the last couple of weeks. You know, they got a player sent off against Arsenal, they lost against Chelsea, and they didn't really have much of a fight back against Chelsea. So it'll be interesting to see how Leeds fare with Jared Bowen. His direct running, which we saw against Manchester United, I think will be key in this game. The second player I've chosen this week is Paul Pogba. I'm sorry, I couldn't go this whole video without talking about Paul Pogba. Pogba is, for me, the most overrated player on the planet. I don't like Neymar, but he's more overrated than Neymar. Paul Pogba is just a skill merchant. That is all he is. He is a compilation merchant, and his agent even has come out and said that he wants to leave Manchester United and he's not impressed with Manchester United's form and all of this. And if I was a Manchester United fan, I'd be going, all right then, see you later. We'll take the 60 mil you might get for him. Paul Pogba, for me, he's not going to play against Manchester City. That's plain and simple. He only played against West Ham at the weekend because, well, they wanted to rest. I believe it was Scott McTominay and Fred for Leipzig, and that shows how far Paul Pogba has fallen. He's behind the likes of Scott McTominay, Fred, these people who he was brought in to, well, show them how it's done, and now they're doing better than him. And I don't think he'll play against Manchester City. He might come on in about the 70th minute, but I think he's someone to watch out for if he does play, because he's either going to play really well to show potential suitors, almost like a Coutinho effect when Coutinho was leaving Liverpool, to show potential suitors that yes, he is still a good player, or he could just end up with this Ozil effect that he doesn't end up playing and then he's stuck at the club and then this and that. And although, to be fair to Ozil, he actually wants to be at the club, it's the club that don't want him. But I think Paul Pogba is massively overrated. I know I can hear people being like, oh, he's better than Jordan Henderson. Let's be real, the last 2 seasons, who's been the better player? It's been Jordan Henderson by a country mile. And the final player I've chosen to watch this week is Conor Coady. Unfortunately for Conor Coady, last weekend he didn't have a good game against Liverpool. I know it's was it his childhood club, his youth club, whatever. He is a Scouser. He used to play for Liverpool and he really didn't have a great return to Anfield. Liverpool, in fairness to them, played really well, but Conor Coady, there was a mistake for the first goal, I believe. There was a dive on a Sadio Mane tackle or something like that. And it just didn't look good for Conor Coady this weekend. And I think it's important he bounces back. I'm sure he will. And I think it'll be a good game he plays in. It always is when Conor Coady's playing. He's usually very professional. And I hope that that is just one blip along the way and it's a learning curve for him as a Wolves player and as an England international. This weekend Wolves play Aston Villa, and we know the attacking qualities of Aston Villa. They've got an extra week as well on their legs, so they've had a bit of a break, which is kind of fortunate for them. So although they are 2 games behind and it'll be rushed in the later stages of the season, they do get this break earlier on, so it might benefit them actually. Conor Coady will have to be aware of the likes of Ollie Watkins, Jack Grealish, who've been in good form so far this season. I think it's no task at all for Conor Coady to mark the likes of Jack Grealish and Ollie Watkins, and I think he could have a good game this weekend, but he needs to, specifically, that Wolves team need to keep Jack Grealish quiet. If they can keep Jack Grealish quiet, you'll keep Aston Villa quiet. Anyway, that concludes this week's Premier League preview. As always, be sure to let me know in the comments section below who you think the player and the team to watch will be this week. Like I said, remember to go down into the description, find the Instagram poll, whatever I've put it on, you'll see it in the description, and let me know, what do you want to drop? Do you want to drop teams to watch or players to watch? Anyway, be sure to like and subscribe if you are new around here and if you have enjoyed, and I'll see you on my next video.